We've launched efforts to hand out free PPE and sanitizer literally all across the country. We have officially crossed the 1.5 million free masks handed out across the country. We've handed out hundreds of thousands of bottles of sanitizer to accompany these masks. We have done all that we can to continue to make sure that brown folks, black folks, folks who are under resourced, people who are stuck in prisons and jails, people who are not deemed as essential workers but are on the front lines of all of these issues, we have indeed made an effort to represent for them. And your donations, your support has greatly allowed us to stay connected in this way. And so part of what we hope to do as we go through the holiday season, since the COVID crisis has emerged now with an uptick, largely we're hearing due to the travel during Halloween, due to the travel during Thanksgiving. We're expecting these numbers to continue to climb. And so on today's show, we're going to have a couple folks to come on and give us some real-time medical updates. One of our co-conveners and founders of the Mass for the People, Dr. James Corbett, will join us and give us, to close out the show, some real-time updates. But to start us off, we always want to bring in some folks who can help us with some inspiration, help us be reminded of the hope and the power and the strength of our community and our ability to have some imaginations and dreams of a better future and a better day. So I'm super excited and super glad to welcome to the Mass for the People show our very first guest. He is a world-renowned, award-winning gospel music artist. He is a super amazing writer, producer. He has won, I believe, Stellars and Grammys and Doves. He's just won it all. He is from Harvey, Illinois. His hit a song called Nobody Greater. Many of us who may attend the church on a Sunday, you've heard this song sang by your pastor, your praise and worship leader, your choir. This is a wonderful, wonderful brother. We've got a chance to hang out in a couple of spots, just kind of talking and doing a little bit of work together. And I'm super excited to have him joining us today on the Mass for the People show. Everybody, welcome to the room. The great, amazing Vashawn Mitchell is in the building, y'all. Come on, let's welcome him into the house. Say what's up to the people, my man.
What's up, everybody? And good to see you, Pastor Mike, once again. Glad to be in your presence, even if it's virtually, you know?
Well, see, that's all the presents we got, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From virtual stuff. But no, man, it's really a blessing to be able to hang out with you. And most people, I think, know of your music, your ministry through one or two of these songs. But man, you've been at this game for 20 years, brother. You one of these guys. You ain't a one hit wonder, as they say, right? You actually got some longevity in the ministry. Yeah. And so talk a little bit just about what inspires you to write music and bring this gift to all of us. I think all of us are looking for some inspiration these days.
You know what? First of all, I'm definitely inspired by God, understanding that He is still the greatest, no matter what we see, no matter what we go through. But life inspires me to write. You know, a lot of people say they sit down and go sit at the piano. Well, I watch the news. I listen to, what's going on in the world. And I ask God to give me songs that will kind of write to those situations, not to write about them, but to write to them. You know, so we can have songs like Turning Around for Me or My Worship is for Real, or, those songs that kind of people can pull up today, tomorrow, or 10 years from now, and it still, have the same impact, the same power. So I listen to the sounds of the earth. I listen to the newscast, and definitely inspired through the Word of God.
Man, there's so much happening right now that really requires a listening ear. The scripture says, "He that hath an ear, let them hear." Yeah. What is dominating your kind of sensibility right now? I see you got on the Brianna sweatshirt, which again, all of us I think are continuing to be moved to action. However we can to keep elevating these issues. Are there things that are just sticking out to you in this season?
You know what? There's some words that are sticking out because of what we're seeing. And those words are, and I hate to say it, we're in the Christmas season, but that's why Jesus came. The Bible says, I come that you might have life and that more abundantly. When he came to bring love, joy, peace to the world. And I believe that if we focus on Jesus and focus on being the reason for the season and every season, we'll start to focus on love, life, and peace again, so that those things that we're seeing that are in disarray, we understand that when Jesus came, he didn't leave, he came to stay. you know, and he came to stay within our hearts, and the joy that we should have, that peace we should have, and those things that should bring us together should stop separating us. So those things that are sticking out to me is definitely being separated, you know, living in this world and thinking, you know, we have accomplished when we've been set back. But I believe that it's all on purpose to push us back to the focus, and that focus is Jesus Christ. That focus is love, peace, joy, and that we all may come together to, you know, embrace this thing we call life together.
Preacher, come on for the people show and preach. Where's the offering? I get them sip you some water.
Hey, cash app me. You know
these themes of peace, these themes of joy, these themes of love, these themes of unity and togetherness. You know, some of our biggest challenges that we've been really enduring this whole year, we call it COVID-19, COVID 45, COVID 16, 19, right? So we got the virus. Yeah. We got, you know, the way our outgoing president has led. And I don't know if you saw this weekend, some of these Proud Boys that Trump told to stand by and stand back, literally like tore down some Black Lives Matter signs off of Metropolitan AME Church, which is a historic church. I had a chance to preach there past year. And this is the home of Frederick Douglass. He was buried there. And so we do see all these manifestations. COVID-16, 19, we joke around on the show, call it the virus of racism. You know, do you feel in this moment, as we've endured COVID-19, has it impacted you or your family or folks around you in a way that's just been kind of like, man, not only is life short, but we got to figure out a way to really come together. I do worry sometimes that our response to COVID is so individualized that it keeps us from actually caring about each other's struggle to the point of just wearing a mask. I'm like, can't you wear a mask for the people that you love? Maybe you don't love yourself. Do you love somebody else? I don't know. How have you been responding to COVID?
You know what? I've been following the procedures and the guidelines that set by the CDC and by others, wearing a mask. You know, I'm in Georgia, so it's been open for a while. Ooh. So I have my mask on where we go. You know, and the thing is that people don't understand is that it's an open state, but when we go to the grocery store, when we go around people, everyone still has on a mask. You know, most of the time, whatever. So that it's still, you know, definitely safe. But I haven't had no one in my family, thank God, you know, get too ill from it. They've caught it, but not too ill from it. But I've had some friends that I've lost during COVID, you know, in different places around the world, one in LA and different places. And I realized that at 30 something years old or early 40s and just taken out of here like that, you know, it was hard to take, you know, and just to wear a mask. I went to visit my grandmother for the holidays and I didn't because last time I saw her, I had to see her from a distance with a mask on because she's 88, you know, and, you know, who knows about this, you know, this virus, you know, we could be a carrier, we could be whatever. We just don't know. There's too many uncertainties to bring that, you know, into our families or whatever. So this has been a rough year, you know, it's been a rough year, and not saying, you know, financially rough and all that, like some people say, but it's been a rough year not being able to be around loved ones, not being able to have those times that you usually have, especially in the holiday season, you know, and you know, I don't cook that well. So my grandmother, I can't eat her food this Christmas and Thanksgiving, but I do know that, you know, if we do right, we'll be able to love on each other again. You know, that's why it's so important for us to wear our masks, to sanitize, to keep our distance in order for our loved ones, even if not for ourselves. Because I've heard some crazy stuff. You know, people say I'm not going to take the vaccine. I'm this or that. You know, I haven't said, you know, either way. I'm gonna treat it like an iPhone. You know, when it come out, I don't get the first one anyway. But I do believe I will take it for my family. Yeah. You know, not even just for me to go around my grandmother again, to love on her. I want to be safe for that. So, you know, some people come against me for saying it, but we have to do better. You know, and start to trust. If we're gonna say we trust God, we have to trust God. You know, and that's the case. So,
man, that's a great answer. I salute you on that, because you know, folks tell me stuff as well. I'm not gonna take the vaccine. I tell them, well, you know, the story of Noah after the flood. He sent out the first bird, and the bird came back. He sent out the second bird, and the bird came back. He sent out the third bird. I was like, I'm probably gonna be that third or fourth bird that's gonna take it, but I will take it. You know, folks be like, I don't know what's in it. I'd be like, you don't know what's in your drinks when you at the club. You don't know what's in that Pop-Tart that you eat. You don't even know what's in them chicken McNuggets. And I know
you don't know what's in these big old chicken wings to come out. You know, ain't no chicken that big that have them big old wings. I would tell people, like, y'all be careful.
Be careful. Yeah. And now, are you tuned into the runoff election that's happening in Georgia at all?
I sure am. And early voting started today, and we out in big numbers. We're in big numbers. You know, so it's going to be a good one. It's going to be tight, but I believe that, you know, our hearts are in it, and we've got people that voted that never voted before. And I keep saying that because I've watched it, and Ms. Abrams and so many others have rounded up people who just didn't think they vote mattered, and now people know that it matters. They're taking it serious. So, hey, it's gonna be tight, but I believe that we're gonna see victory.
Now we launched, our Black Church Rocks bus. I don't know if you've been seeing that riding around Georgia, but we need to get you. We need to get you plugged in on it, bro.
Hey, y'all, they got other people on there. I'm not on the bus, but that's all right.
I didn't know you was in Georgia. I don't know why I thought you was up in the Midwest somewhere. If I'd have known that, we'd have had you on the front of the bus. We'd have took and put you on the bus.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Now, talk to me. You got a Home for Christmas concert that's getting ready to jump off this holiday season. Talk to me a little bit about that and what you're hoping people get the message of your contribution. I assume it's a virtual concert.
Yeah, the virtual concert actually is tonight. It's going to be tonight, but we had a project that came out last Friday called Home for Christmas. And honestly, before COVID, before the pandemic, and before everything was going on, I had not been home for Christmas in about 6-7 years. I've been traveling overseas, doing, just being busy. So when I was thinking about this project, I realized that there's some things we're missing from being at home. So the pandemic didn't bring all bad things. It helped us to kind of come apart, to reset, to refocus, and to focus on those things that are more important to us than running around and traveling the streets. So to focus on family. So the whole project is about family. It's about love. It's about life. It's about why Jesus came. And it's not just a Christmas project. I tell people all the time that we may celebrate Jesus for Christmas, but understand that it's Jesus for life. He came that we may have life and that more abundantly. So it's music for getting ready for Christmas. It's music for if you decide to go to church on Christmas and you're at home, but it's also a little something on there as well. I did a collaboration with Shantae Moore. It's just an amazing body of work. It's only 6 songs, but it's 6 songs that you would definitely not forget. It's called Home for Christmas. It's available everywhere you stream your music. But the concert is tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's going down. And you can find information at homeforchristmasconcert.com, homeforchristmasconcert.com. It's very inexpensive for the experience you're going to get, and it's going to be a life-changing experience.
Great, man. No, that's what's up. And you said you had Shantae Moore, yourself.
Miranda Curtis, Tina Robertson, and my singers, the band. It's a good project. And it's kind of hard to promote these days. You can't go to churches and sing them on Sunday. Everything is virtual, but I believe that this music is going to become contagious. That's not just going to last this season, but for seasons to come. And people will pull this music up whenever they need inspiration, encouragement, and uplifting through life's experiences.
Come on, y'all go now. Y'all know Vashawn. I mean, this brother, he went in Grammys and Stellars and Doves. So his projects be fired. These ain't no humming songs you do in the shower. This that'll bless your heart. And so let's support this brother. I love artists as well who are attempting to kind of connect up the spirit with the issues that are happening in our society and in our current moment in time. And so in this season, we all need to figure out ways to nourish our spirit, nourish the parts of us that are literally enduring one of the most difficult seasons in the history of our country. COVID, we reached a 300,000 person threshold today of individuals who've been lost. You Kojic, right? You grew up Kojic, I think, or no?
No, I grew up Baptist, but I was very connected to the Kojic Church as well.
Yeah, I thought I saw you at a Kojic meeting a couple of times helping the
You did?
Yeah,
you did. Yeah.
And so we've seen how the Church of God in Christ and many of our denominations have lost a lot of bishops and elders to the virus. And so I do pray and I do hope and I do believe that the work and the ministry that you and others are doing, our psalmists, our folks that are able to kind of capture art and the spirit, that y'all's work can continue to be blessed during this season. We need good music, man. I'm telling you, I be needing to put on some songs that'll make me remember that the praises and the worship of our God still should be in our mouths. So thanks for your ministry, man, and thanks for all the work that you're doing. How can people be in touch with you just generally? I'm sure you online with all your handles. So give folks them connections just in case folks are meeting for the first time on the Mass for the People show.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you for having me on the show. And hey, y'all, it's Vashawn Mitchell. You'll see the name right there because it's hard to spell. But VashawnMitchell.com, Vashawn Mitchell Instagram, Vashawn Mitchell Facebook, sometimes on Snapchat, but it's all Vashawn Mitchell, no space. Check me out, see what I'm doing, and connect with me.
Yeah, connect with this brother. He's one of the good ones, y'all, in the industry, in the church, in the business. Always been a great brother, so I really want to appreciate you for hanging out with us, man. And I'm gonna hit you offline and get get your face on the Black Church Pack bus, brother. Since you down in Georgia, man, we gotta
Let's go.
We gotta let that swag get folks to the fold.
Absolutely.
All right,
Appreciate it.
right on. Vashawn Mitchell, everybody, we appreciate him hanging out with us on this day of 300,000 souls have been lost, or bodies have been lost to the COVID-19 virus. But yet we will still persist, and we will continue to do this great work of encouragement, helping us to make sure we wash our hands and we wear our mask and we social distance. And so we're super excited to continue the conversation. Everybody, take them off, Navarro. We'll keep rocking here. Bless you, bro. We'll see you around. So literally, y'all, it's so important for us to keep reminding ourselves that the issue of COVID-19 requires our continuous engagement. We cannot be a people who get tired and weary, as the scriptures tells us, in well-doing, but we have to keep doing the great work of encouraging one another to take care of ourselves and to take care of one another. It is indeed the case, folks. It is indeed the case that COVID-19 is on an uptick because too many of us have been traveling. Too many of us have been on planes, trains, and automobiles. Too many of us have not been following the guidance of the doctors and the medical professionals. And so part of what I hope we can do is encourage ourselves to do the necessary discipline practices that help us bring this virus under control. We have at least, y'all, another quarter's worth, 3 or 4 months worth of real important disciplining we have to do. And one of the great gifts of today, in some people's minds, I think it's true in my mind as well, is the vaccine is starting to roll out. Now, I know there's a lot of skepticism and worry and concern about the vaccine and its efficaciousness. But part of what we're hoping to do is to bring some folks into the conversation over the next couple of weeks to just help us have some conversations about what is the responsible way for us to respond to the availability of a vaccine. I know many of us have heard all kinds of historical and current narratives related to vaccines, related to the wicked and evil trials that were perpetuated on Black Americans without our knowledge, in Tuskegee, the syphilis projects, all of these different kinds of things that have rightly created a distrust in the medical use of medicines and vaccines. But this is the reality, y'all. We have a global pandemic and we have a unique strand of virus, of illness that has ravaged our world. It'd be one thing if it just was ravaging our country, but there are literally countries all across the world who are struggling with the exact same reality that we are. It is important for us to ask questions, to hold folks accountable, but to not overly delay the kind of mitigation efforts, whether they are wearing masks, whether they are socially distancing, whether they are certainly washing our hands and ensuring that we're not pushing the limits on our gatherings and our travel. What does it mean for us to take very seriously that in this season and in this moment, we have some tools at our disposal? Now, all of you who are in Georgia, and dare I say all across the country, Masks for the People are helping to put masks on the ground, helping to make sure that we have PPE available for all kinds of folks all across the country who are still struggling to have access to hand sanitizer, have access to the issues related to putting the mask on and getting them into the jails and the prisons. I'm excited. A couple of reports that we've been working on with the Council for Criminal Justice were released today, and they give us lots of great guidelines on how to make sure the issues we care about, those who are incarcerated, those who are in jail and those who are in prison, that they have access to PPE, they have access to sanitizer, they have access to the best medical information. And so we're doing all that we can, even in some of these states that are experiencing some of the greatest uptick of infections, to give them what they need in order to mitigate the harm. I'm super excited because my co-founder of this effort, James Corbett, is here to help us just answer a few questions about what's happening in real time with the virus, what's happening in real time with the vaccines, what's happening in real time with just the way in which hospitals and medical professionals are literally trying to respond to this issue of COVID-19. So welcome to the show. That says Gentleman Jim. I don't know why that says that. Because all the time I've known you, Gentleman has not.
Too easy. Welcome. Hello, Mike.
Well, welcome to Mass for the People, Gentleman Jim. Great to have you hanging out with us. Many of you may not know this, but James Corbett and I went to seminary together. I taught him much of everything he knows about ethics and theology. He was there struggling to figure out how to read Barth and how to read Reinhold Niebuhr and how to read who else? All these folks, Leslie Newbegin. And young Mike came into his life at a very important moment and helped clarify the tradition of his Catholic upbringing. And he is now catapulted into a wonderful, wonderful career of being a bioethicist. He is an ethicist of so many hospital systems. All jokes aside, he leads the Nutium Health firm, which provides amazing and important consultation to all kinds of companies and health systems across the world. He was one of the first people in February, while they were telling us not to wear masks, they were telling us not to worry about the airborne nature of this. He was one of the first folks that actually pulled my coattail and said, "Hey, Mike, people in jails and prisons are going to be the most impacted by this. Maybe you should start an effort." And we got on the phone and we started to talk to folks in nonviolent prevention spaces all across the country. And lo and behold, not only was he right, the forethought of James and a few others that he brought into our space actually gave us the catalyst to launch Mass for the People. And so here we are, James. It is December 14th. Man, second Monday in December, and we have hit the 300,000 threshold of deaths related to COVID-19. Did you imagine that back in February we were talking that we would be in this place here in this?
No, and thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me on again. So I really appreciate the opportunity to give my perspective, one person's perspective. I have a law degree and a Master of Divinity. I've worked in 4 of the largest health systems across the country for the last 20 years. And I think I've got some insight to share. Mostly it's pulling back the corporate veil, because the things you hear when you're in what I'll call the room where it happens, these C-suite of health systems, it can be challenging to the general public. And, you know, Mike was joking about like Monica Gentleman Jim, but sometimes you have to act very ungentlemanly with these institutions to get them to do the right thing. And I will just argue, just as a start, that, it's been unfortunate. Public health is in the middle of a crisis now, but I think that the body of thought called public health is in a crisis, mostly because the trust associated with public health principles has been deteriorated. One of the primary tenets of public health and the primary tenets of a public health emergency is ensuring that those who are the most vulnerable are protected. And that means that you're supposed to put extra resources, extra precautions to protect those. And be it nursing homes, be it prisons, be it those people of color who are more at risk, we have not seen the appropriate response in a public health emergency to ensure that those who are the most vulnerable are protected first. So I'll say, unfortunately, yes, we had some mistruths about wearing a mask at the beginning of the pandemic. And that was a public health approach. The powers that be, knew that if they told everyone to go wear a mask, that would further deplete the capacity for the frontline staff to wear masks. But I can tell you some really damning stories in hospitals across the country where the frontline staff, those who are cleaning the rooms, those who are transporting the goods, we're told these same messages. Don't worry, you don't need a mask, and with some damning consequences. So it's been a challenge to get truth. And then when you bring it to the notion of this vaccine, if you didn't trust the folks when it comes to wearing a mask, can you trust those same folks when it comes to them saying now this vaccine is going to be 100% safe? And while I hope that the vaccine can lead to a reduction in the scourge of our generation in some respects, I'm a little nervous about how fast it's rolled out. I'm also a little nervous about how we're not necessarily being completely transparent with some of the side effects, including some of the massive headaches and other things that are part of any of this vaccination. So I think that we just have to, as Mike indicated, given some of the historical challenges we've had, Tuskegee and others, we as people of color have to be extra cautious in this era where the trust tied to public health approaches has been reduced.
I mean, you have heard, and I've heard, you know, the use of these historical touch points within our experience in America to kind of dissuade folks from actually trusting the science, trusting the scientists. We've even started to see Fauci and folks come out and start promoting the sister who was part of the team who helped to create or at least bring one of these vaccines to public use. Do you feel like it's irresponsible for folks to kind of run past this too fast? I mean, what in your mind, how do you help advise health systems on the messaging and the rollout of this? What are some questions we should be asking? You know,
so I do think that, I mean, that's a really good question, and I can commit to after this sending you some talking points in consultation with physicians, pharmacists, and others that would equip someone to ask the right questions. But the things I would be asking is, as a person of color, are there additional potential risks associated with any vaccination? I would want to get a little bit more clarity around the side effects and in understanding if those side effects are exacerbated by underlying conditions. Those would be two. And then the third, I would just want an honest conversation about, given the speed with which this is rolled out, do we have a full and complete understanding of all the potential side effects? And then whenever I'm in front of a physician with a challenging conversation, I always say, what would you do if it was your dad? Or what would you do if it was your mom? Would you suggest that they take it? You know, I have many people that I know who are planning to take it. And my partner's a pharmacist and helping with rollouts of some of these systems. But I also know frontline nurses and others who really don't want to take it and who are concerned. So there's no easy answers on this one. Anybody who tells you there's a right or wrong answer is not being honest. I'll tell you, even in the best of times with the flu vaccination, we're in the 60%. So, you know, even with something as benign as the flu vaccination, we haven't hit the numbers that we've wanted. So I don't believe we're going to hit the numbers that people are hyping that we'll hit with the vaccination. All that to say, what we can all continue to do, as sad as it will be in the holidays, is continue to wear a mask and continue to social distance as much as possible, irrespective of vaccination or not.
Do you have a sense in your kind of calendar of the trajectory of the virus? Do you feel like with the kind of herd immunity, we hear that a lot, mitigation efforts, the masking efforts, maybe contact tracing will kind of come to scale under this new administration, that we're going to start to see the light at the end of the tunnel real soon? Or do you feel like we still have at least another untold months of trying to navigate through this?
Yeah, I mean, I think 2021 is going to be a challenging year. I think it's, you know, until we get to warmer climates nationally, we're going to have some challenges. I think January is going to be pretty tough and February right behind it. And part of why I can say that with comfort is we're just seeing a lot of these municipalities ask for more and more PPE, not less and less. They're not tearing down their quantities of PPE requests from state and local governments around the country. They're teeing them up higher. I'm seeing requests that last for 2021, and it's gonna be a sad statement, 2022 as well. So I just think we're gonna be in a bit of a new normal, unfortunately, which requires us to kind of take care of each other. One of the things I'm most concerned about is the issue of Black suffering with the holidays coming up. And I think that people are going to, because there's such a struggle and such a challenge, I wanna make sure that our folks aren't taking unnecessary risks and that we can figure out a way to reduce Black suffering and to somehow increase the kind of festive nature of the Christmas holidays at a time when a lot of people are going to be suffering and struggling. But I do believe that one of the great benefits of this whole the Mass for People movement, Mike, and this group effort that we have here is that we can do it together. We're not waiting on anybody out there to do it for us. What can we do together? And I want to make a donation tonight to the cause, Mike. I'll do that. Anything we can do to make sure that young Black individuals and kids and families are reducing and ameliorating their suffering. Not enough has been done there. And what can we do in these next 2 weeks with the holidays among us to reduce Black suffering and the concomitant suicides and high rates of other mental health challenges that are coming as a result of this crisis?
Yeah, it's going to be really important for us, I think, to bring in some mental health supports and admonitions for folks as we're navigating this. One of our other guests, she's actually literally on a call with some folks from the transition team on the White House, which is delaying her arrival. I was supposed to be on that call as well, talking to some of the public health people, just trying to continue to reinforce that issues related to gun violence, issues related to criminalization, issues related to pre-existing social and health conditions exacerbates the kinds of outcomes that we see related to COVID. I was in the neighborhood this year and talking to some young guys who didn't even believe COVID was real. And one of the brothers told me, Rev, I face death every day, and it's concrete and it's real. I'm not going to adjust my life for something that I can't see. And it was such a hard conversation I had with him. A few of them and their comrades, I think about 10 of them over the course of a week had gotten shot. And I was told when they went into the hospitals, half of them had tested positive for COVID and they didn't even know it, right? Which just lets me to know that there's a lot of folks in our communities that are either asymptomatic in carrying this virus, or they're so overwhelmed with just the weight of life in general that something like this just feels too out of their reach. And so I think all of us have a responsibility. We are launching all across the country for the next month a thing called Season of Peace, where we want to bless the block. We're going to go to a bunch of our cities where we do work with the Live Free campaign, the Black Brown Gun Violence Prevention Consortium, Life Camp, and we're gonna try to drop off PPE and masks right in the neighborhood every week. We're gonna deliver food. We're gonna do some toy giveaways, just to try to help keep a semblance of connection in our community, but also make concrete to folks that if we don't take care of one another, it's going to be some grim days, weeks, and months coming. And so I think your message is right on. Before we let you go, James, as we think through, y'all may or may not know, but James and his firm has been one of the most important plugs, if you will, for our sourcing of PPE. I told the folks that we've easily hit over 1.5 million masks since we started this, which is so interesting because I think when we first started, you didn't think we were going to be able to pull it off, but the generosity of folks out here, I didn't think we was going to be able to pull it off either. So it wasn't just you. I think I was like, man, I may have jumped out here way too fast, but just say a quick word about just the impact that we have had just in the humanitarian space from your perspective. I think folks may not appreciate what we've been able to do over the last 8 months or so.
Yeah, well, two things. First, I want to speak to what you highlighted when folks said they're not going to respond to something they can't see when they have enough risk that they can see. And there's a certain nihilism that kind of infects our communities. And, we've had Dr. Thea James on before. She actually has been taking tattoo images in the ER. She's an ER physician in Boston. And with the authority and the permission of individuals to come to the ER, she's been snapshotting body images. I'd love to have her back and show you these images sometime, like Born to Die. I don't care, and they tattooed on their body, and then she's been able to show how she's brought them through that to employment in healthcare and other sessions. So in the midst of this nihilism, I think we need to meet people where they are and then lift them up from this nihilism and realize that their lives matter. So that's part one. Part two, to the work that you've done, and we've seen that, by the way, when AIDS happened, a lot of people said, well, let's get them to take care of their medicines and all that. And folks said, listen, if I can't eat, If I don't have housing, I don't care about that medicine. And that really shaped public health. It made public health say, wait a minute, we got to address the underlying issues in order to get folks to care for their own needs. And I think that same methodology has to happen now. People are struggling with social determinants of health, housing, employment, poverty, violence. We have to address that so that they can then come to the table clean enough to be willing to address their nihilism and the underlying issues that exist in their community. Secondarily, I'll say in terms of the work that Mike's done, it's been amazing. You know, I think history has its eyes on us, and they're gonna look back at this time, and the question of our kids is gonna be to us, what did you do? And they're not going to take the answer because the studies and the numbers will be there. They're not going to say, well, we were waiting for the president to do it, or we were waiting for the governor to do it. They're going to say, no, Dad, what did you do? And with that in mind, I want to say that, Mike, you know, thanks for the work. Anything I can do to continue that work, I want to be part on the mission of those who said we did something and we took a stand. So as an organization, what we tried to do is help Mike pull together the brand, help Mike to push the 2-ounce bottles of sanitizer across the country. We've hit more than 60 cities now, and deliveries going to Haiti. And we've delivered masks and sanitizer at a time when nobody cared about those who were in prison. Nobody cared about the bus driver who was driving, and people who were on the front lines of the hospital cleaning the rooms were told they didn't need masks. So I think we had a counter narrative, and we backed up that counter narrative with practice. It's one thing to have a theory and to talk about it, but what I love about Mike is that we came in with the practice, right? Faith without works is dead. And the works that we did, I think the story will be told that we saved countless lives and will continue to do so. But it's not us, Mike or I, it's everybody on this call who leans in with us and puts together their financial resources or the resources of their time and energy to support this effort. And we need more of that, not less. So thank you, Mike, for bringing me in, because it's been some of the most meaningful stuff I've done.
Well, it's been great to rock with you, and we still got a lot of more to do. If you are a business, if you are a church, if you work in systems and you need masks and sanitizer, hit us up, maskforthepeople.org. You can go to our website and literally order that stuff, and we'll get it sourced to you. Our prices are super competitive, but better than that, 20-something% of everything that you spend with us will go right back into the Mask for the People campaign, so we can keep buying free PPE and getting it out to people in the community and the neighborhood. James Corbett, Gentleman Jim, that's going to be your new nickname.
Well, one last thing for Gentleman Jim, I'm going to donate $2,000 tonight out of my pocket. You tell me the organization to write it to, and then I want to know, what are those organizations that are going to go deep in the hood? I grew up in Queens, New York. What are those organizations that are going to prevent Black suffering in the midst of the holiday season? So you tell me where to write the check.
Stay on right here. Bring Erica Ford, the great Erica Ford, in the building from Queens. Now we got a Queens reunion. Put us all three side by side, Navarro. All three of us side by side. Now look at all this Queens energy. It's too much. I'm a West Coast guy and I can't take it. It's too much all on one screen. You muted, E.
We might do some goodness for you then. You know, Queens, you know, we just that one of a kind. You know, ain't no others like us. Y'all can try to imitate us all over the world, but ain't nothing like us, you know.
Here we go. Now James act like he's about that Queens life. That's the first time I heard him claim it. I think no, just
it's all good. It's in his bones. It's in his DNA.
No, he's the first person I met from Queens in my life. I met him at Duke, and he was repping his Queens, New York. He even had a little accent back then before he got that degree.
But I must say, Pastor Mike, I was born over there by you. I was born right down the road in Monterey, Fort Ord, California. So you know.
That's why me and you rock so well. I knew there's some West Coast blood in you somewhere.
Definitely.
James, thanks for your work, and love you, bro. We'll circle back.
All right, thank you.
Peace.
Meet you, Erica. Ciao.
We are here with the living legend herself, the great Erica Ford. She is the founder of Life Camp Incorporated. It is one of the most important gun violence prevention, peacemaking, healing organizations in the country. And she continues to be a trailblazer. She's got 40-something years in the game.
He said 40-something. 40.
I'm not gonna be too specific, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't want no problem.
Saturday it turned 33. It's 33 years on Saturday, December 12th is the anniversary.
Wow. I mean, there's so much happening in the world right now, and we early on when we decided to do Math for the People, we hit you and a few others up first because we wanted to make sure we hit frontline people, and I mean, we need more. I think we just sent you another order this past
Yes.
week. Isn't it
Yes.
crazy that folks in our neighborhoods are still struggling, and
We get access.
we don't have what we need in the neighborhood.
We don't. We don't. I don't think we'll ever have all of what we need. I think that it's a clear disparity in the distribution and the care of our people, and it's just like we're watching them die.
Yeah.
And they should not and do not have to die from this thing. And part of it is our own, ignorance, in thinking that it's not real, and thinking that we don't, we can escape it, but also it's the accessibility to the supplies.
Well, I don't want to hold you too long because I know you were on the call with the transition team. I was on that call for a few minutes. Had to get on for this. It was a public call. I think the Public Health, Health and Human Services, and you have been one of the trailblazers around public health frameworks for gun violence.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about this holiday season. You and me were talking about launching a season of peace effort.
Yes.
We felt like people all in the cities where we work, which are easily a couple dozen, communities together. Folks have had an uptick of violence, and we didn't want to just let the season go by without it.
Right. Particularly those who've been directly impacted. In our work with the Black and Brown GVP, we had got support from Levi's, and through that partnership with Levi's, we want to spread the love to some small nonprofits across the nation who are on the front line. And because of COVID, fundings got cut, more work got put on their plate, lost lives in both participants and in family members. And so we just want to be able to give a small grant, a small investment, small token. I don't know what's the politically correct word, but
we're gonna bless the block. That's what we've been called. We're gonna
bless the block. I like that. We're gonna bless the block. And so if you know a block that needs to be blessed, if you know a small organization that needs to be blessed, then hit up Pastor Mike, hit up Live Free, and let them know why. Let us know why. Hit me up, and we're gonna give some funds to some of those small organizations that's grinding extra hard right through here and not getting the funds and support that they need.
It's a reality. Me and Erica, we've been working on this before it was popular. When there was.
I think I'm up.
Yeah. And so
I'm up.
All right. Love you, Erica. Represent for us on that call.
Yes.
All right. Well, that y'all just got a quick live feed. Take her out, Navarro. A quick live feed with Erica Ford representing our gun violence coalition with the administration that's incoming. We are, certainly at some of those tables trying to make sure that public health efforts of gun violence are going to get funded with this new administration. And so I'm so appreciative of folks like Erica Ford, Anthony Smith with Cities United, and others. Folks who work with Giffords, a few other folks are there, kind of making sure that our voices are represented in those conversations. But Mass for the People will be partnering with our Season of Peace efforts. We're going to be, again, blessing a number of small organizations working to address issues of gun violence, families who are directly impacted. They've lost a loved one to gun violence in the last calendar year. You are an organization that has been doing that work. We are literally going to help support at least a few dozen organizations all across the country over the next month or so. So if you'd like to be one of those organizations, you can certainly feel free to visit the livefreeusa.org, and you can put the information in our contact form. You can visit my page, pastormikemcbride.com. Give us an organizational name there. You can visit Erica at the Life Camp organization. And we'll spearhead it, and we'll get these resources out into the neighborhoods within the next week or so. So hopefully you can be a blessing. Buy some toys, buy some some groceries. If you need PPE, we'll send you some PPE. And let's be a blessing to folks as we make it through these tough holiday season. This is Pastor Mike, y'all. I'm going to let y'all go. At the top of the hour on this same channels, we're going to be re-airing the Black Church Rocks gospel kickoff concert that we pulled together. This is the start of early voting in every city in the state of Georgia, every county, every single person in the state of Georgia. You can now early vote starting today. And so we're inviting you to really, really take advantage of that. You that are in Georgia, look for the blackchurchrocks.com bus tour that is literally sweeping through every single city over the next several weeks. We've been in Georgia for the last week. We were in 4 or 5 cities, I think, over the weekend. We're partnering with friends and comrades on the ground, churches and organizations that are helping turn out people to vote. So stay tuned. Go get a bathroom break and come on back for a great hour. Fred Hammond, Kiki Shear, Red Hands, Soul Development, some great artists, Bishop and Lady Paul and Deborah Morton. Folks are going to be on here really encouraging our hearts, but reminding us of the importance of voting in this upcoming special election. If you want to help us get the word out for voting every Tuesday and Thursday from 5 p.m. Eastern time to 8 p.m. Eastern time, we are doing textathons. You can go to bit.ly/organize the church, bit.ly/organize the church, and join our textathons. We got Davey D and a whole bunch of dope MCs spinning music while we literally text folks to remind them to take their soul to the poll and vote. This is Pastor Mike, y'all. I'm out. Next week we'll be back and giving you some more updates, some more inspiration. We'll see you soon. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Social distance. God bless y'all. Peace.